Hey, guys.
Hey, Aim.
Hey guys. Hey,
Hey, guys.
hey guys.
Guys.
I'm gonna fetch my AirPod that fell out of my ear.
Oh.
I saw that.
There we go.
There is so much going on over here. Like, they started construction somewhere about 2 minutes ago. And then there were like, something's really happening because there were sirens going on. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, everybody, we're recording. So
The chaos.
That's right, the
Chaos.
chaos. And,
Yeah.
and Amy is just gonna
chaos.
hover. Amy is just gonna hover.
Yeah,
yes,
she was just
this
hovering.
This is
She
me
was
hovering.
hovering.
Chaos.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Like I'm like the kind of hovering I'm thinking about with that kind of chaos is just to, like, step outside your door and say, "Shut up."
That's wisdom right there. Yes.
That's right.
It's brevity with words.
It is. It
Only two
is.
words to use.
It is.
You know?
Economy of words.
Right to the point. Yeah.
Not very funny, but
Oh my gosh.
okay, I have a couple of thoughts.
Let's hear it.
So Kurt Woodley, you opened up with this about wisdom. Is that too distracting?
Was what too
You're
distracting?
talking? That's the
Okay,
only
there's
thing
so much
because that's the
construction.
only thing.
I mean, well, wait.
You can't hear the construction?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good. Well,
I think here's the thing. Here's the thing. God wasn't worried about the chaos. God wasn't at war with the chaos. God was just present. And I think your presence is like, this is what happens when Amy steps into the chaos. It's just like people around her we don't really even notice.
I don't hear the riffraff.
You're being like, you are like God's rep.
You're welcome. So this idea that wisdom is, we need to acquire it, right? We don't get out of bed and like, oh, there's wisdom with my coffee. Like,
Yeah.
And what struck me was not only do we need to, but the amazing thing is we can. Like, we have agency over that.
Yeah.
And like, Pep, when you said, we're all works of art, and if we were to see each other as a work of art, I had to see ourselves as a work of art. And then I thought we are all at varying degrees of dryness. Like, sometimes there's, this part is really dry, but then this part is not so dry. It's newly put on the page.
Yeah, that's good.
And and being okay in that, which is really hard.
Right. If you're the painting.
Yeah, and we are, right?
Yeah.
We are the painting. And it's like, okay, I wish that was really dry, and it is not.
Right.
I was thinking about. Go.
I just want to say I just haven't thought about that. I haven't just paused long enough to consider what it's like to be the painting, where the different parts of me are unfinished, and I become urgently impatient with them not being more of what I want them to be.
And it is going to dry. If we're doing the work, it's going to dry. So it's.
But if you're talking about the kind of work, and I can you pronounce the Japanese art, Kurt.
Oh, Nihonga.
Nihonga.
Yeah.
It's going to dry, but then it needs to require another layer, and then it needs to require another layer, and then you wait for that one to dry, and then it needs another layer, and it just goes on forever.
Yeah. And then the same patience and sometimes tolerance that other people, like, now I'm going to be like, that's pretty wet paint right there that you're showing me. Like, they also have wet paint. And
Yeah. So my impatience extends to them too.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I'm going to see people differently as I'm walking through today. Like, you're not quite finished.
Here. Let me clean that streak that's on your face. That's
right. Come here.
It's running. It's running.
Yeah. And so then, and this is kind of like big picture from, because like in season 3, we talked about the domains of integration. And this week has been a week for me. Like there's been
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
hard conversations, and I realized that pretty quickly I go to threat. I take things as a threat, situations as a threat, and then I respond in a different way. Like I think my security is threatened, and but the cool thing is that like now I can notice that. Like, why do I go to threat? I am okay. I have agency. I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's the slow work. Like, and I think about the YouTube video where it's the orchestra, and we shared it in season 3, and the guy throws his drumstick and like just, and now I can't remember. Does the band goes on, right?
Yeah, but the person he hits doesn't.
Right. He's like,
she bolts it.
Bolts, right. And it's like the slow work of like in this week where I could notice, I go to survival mode pretty quickly. And wisdom requires being present, and noticing and being curious requires being present. And that actually accomplishes more than addressing things as a threat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, and like I'm just thinking that a couple months ago, as I knew that we were thinking about new ideas about this season, like what would our theme be, and as we approach this, I kind of a ramp up on my prayer and my asking God to even more fully allow me to be a person of wisdom. And wouldn't you know it, I mean, it's like boom, boom, boom. Like within 10 days, there are like 3 things that are coming at me. And I'm like, oh, I see how this works. Like I think when I pray for wisdom, I think what I'm doing is I'm just asking God to grant me a special dispensation, in which anytime anything emerges that is the least bit difficult, I will be so full of wisdom that I will know exactly what to do, and I will be, I don't know, like a trauma surgeon who never saw a trauma that he couldn't fix, and just like, we're just going to do this, as opposed to the notion of like, well, if you want to be wiser than you are, it means you're going to have to face a circumstance for which you don't yet have the wisdom in order to handle it, because you're going to have to acquire it and the only way you're going to acquire it is if you enter into this situation about which you don't know what to do. And I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to work.
Right.
But so I there I am, like that sense of I feel threat, just like you, like you're talking about, like I feel threat, and what I typically would do is just like on impulse respond to the threat as opposed to being present. And then I now have to be present and wait and be curious, like what am I going to say? And instead of just like rolling out a 1,000-page essay, in 2 minutes about like what. No, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's hard to wait, but in waiting, you see, I don't have the wisdom. I'm gonna wait for that. I have to think more. I have to talk more with people. I have to be quiet and all the things in order for me to take smaller steps in wisely learning how to navigate this. And that's the only way that wisdom is acquired.
Right. And it's a slow cook, right? It's like if I don't have clarity, I don't have clarity. So I've got to wait, and that is
right.
It's much easier to think, okay, how do I take care of this so it's done, even if it's not the best. How can I do this and move on?
Yeah.
It's like we've got a new Dutch oven.
Oh,
I braised beef in on Christmas Eve, and it took all
Days.
day, right? And then I made chicken curry in the Instapot, and it took 15 minutes. They were both tasty. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm trying to figure out a.
I thought you were going to say it takes forever, but sometimes it is.
I know
Sometimes
that chicken
the
curry
Instapot
dish was
works.
horrible.
One thing
I know. Go with
one
that.
thing that that I was thinking about is, and Kurt, you've talked often about this pendulum where you have to spend time alone and in quiet and time in relationship with people.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is something that to practice presence, you know, a lot of time we need both, right? We need that time. We need to practice that presence alone, and then we need to intentionally take it in with other people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good, guys.
I'll give you the
All
recipe
right.
for Instapot curry if you have an Instapot. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, do it. What about the breads? What color is your Dutch oven? I'm sure Kurt was wondering that too, so I'm asking.
It is like a Kurt wouldn't
I know.
colors aren't his thing.
Right.
It is like I would say like a greenish blue. It's really it's
Like an aqua, like aqua.
not aqua.
Not aqua.
No.
I would think aqua with greenish blue.
No, it's more green than it leans more to the greens than it does the blues, I think.
But it's not just straight up green. It's got some blue in it.
Right.
Yeah. And is that, do you put that on a burner? You put it in the, how does it work? So
I braise on the stove with it, braise the beef, but then it's in a low temp oven, like 300, 325, something like that for hours.
And does the Dutch oven, but it's like a pot, right?
Yeah.
And does the pot itself is it ceramic?
Yes.
And does it have coils in it built into it, or is it no? So the heat that
it's just a
heat comes from the burner of the stove.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. There's probably a YouTube video out there
time.
about this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's how the Dutch cooked all their victims.
We'll post a picture of your Dutch oven. Yeah.
Riveting. I bring so much to these conversations.
It is.
Okay.
You do, Pep. All right.
Thank you. All right.
Love you guys.
Love you. We'll see you next time.